in for some heavy weather. This is the Australian version of a white Christmas, I guess. It's still ex-tropical cyclone Owen.
I gotta keep my eyes on the road, but the rain is falling hard from the sky. I'm driving my way back home. Before a while we say goodbye, yeah. Man, I can stand such a pain in my soul. The tears are coming down from my eyes. I have this feeling I loved before, but you treated me so.
Well, it might not look like it at the moment, but we're in for some heavy weather. The low pressure system that was tropical cyclone Owen, sort of just hanging around and being a bit of a pain in the bum. So it's just going up the coast at the moment. As it goes, it's drawing the isobars with it. There's a high further south, and they're sort of combining together. So in 2 days or so, we're expecting southeast winds up to about 30-35 knots.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, some Christmas present. Lots and lots of wind. So at the moment it's coming roughly from the north. I say roughly because it just sort of goes like that. So we're going to use that to ride down. We've got 30 miles to go to the island that we've chosen.
How fast are we going as well?
Yeah, we do love our spinnaker, because at the moment, in breeze that I can't feel, we're doing about 4.6 knots, and we haven't picked up the flood tide, which will be driving us south as well. So,
yeah.
I don't know, what time is it now, Pesky? It's
5, is it?
It's 10 past 5, so we've got another 15 minutes to go until the slack tide. So the tide's still the ebb tide is just still pushing north against us. But as the tide picks up a little bit, we'll get an extra knot or two down south. Hopefully we don't outrun the wind once the tide turns. That'd be a real pain, but at least we're not running our engine. It's nice and quiet. We're just
very
peaceful.
peaceful.
Just chilling out, aren't we? But we do need to get that 30 miles before the wind kicks in, and it's going to kick in probably late afternoon Sunday, which is tomorrow. We'll see if we can, we might even have to do a little bit of rod fishing, because all of the trolling species that we normally target, they've all gone south for the summer. It's just too hot for those guys at the moment. So trolling's a bit of a non-event at the moment. Everything that's around is tuna, which is about that big, so you don't want them. But all the big mackerel, there might be still a few just hanging around reefs and stuff, but we're not there. So how much fish we got left?
We still got a fair bit. We went spearfishing, but the visibility was poor.
Everywhere that you're allowed to go spearfishing down here is carefully chosen on its lack of visibility.
Yeah.
Everywhere that's verboten is generally nice and clear, and they like to stick you on the backsides and in the lagoons for the poor old spear fishermen.
Soon the fickle winds forced us to retire our cruising spinnaker in favour of a headsail and mainsail. We ended up motor sailing through the night to take refuge in the channel between Keswick Island and St Bees Island in the early morning. We chose this spot as it afforded protection from the northerly swells and incoming 30 knot southeasterlies. As the wind picked up in the morning, we scurried about the deck securing halyards and the anchor rode. Strong currents driving through the channel were fighting against the wind and holding Marul sideways to the incoming seas.
What are you doing? Are you setting an anchor watch?
Yeah, setting an anchor watch. So we've gone and got open CPN on our tablet, don't we? So it makes quite a nice loud anchor watch. What's on this thing? We actually had to abandon our last anchor spot. The wind and the tide conspired to trap the boat between two opposing forces, and Marul wanted to sail forward between them, because normally you've got, you know, like wind and water pressure and the yacht goes forward. So when it sort of happened this time, the yacht went forward, but going forward it wanted to sail up onto the reef. So we had to get out of there. So we had a bit of we went and had a look at another bay that was supposed to be good for 25 knots. To be honest, the recommendations for this island, I don't think they've come from personal experience, because none of the depths are right, and that bay was not good in 25-30 knots. Was it, Pasky? It was full of swell. And not only full of swell, it was full of breaking swell.
Yeah.
But this is a lot better. This is not an anchorage that was mentioned, but we could see that it was better, and there's clear sand all the way up, right up to the edge. So I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, I can see it clear.
Yeah. So here, these photographs are invaluable, and you can see there's our little boat there, GPS place. So there's the reef edge, so we could actually get quite close. This whole this radius here is 150 metres, so that circle represents 300 metres. So yeah, we've been able to get quite close in. We're actually sitting right over our anchor. Again, the forces are fairly balanced. So at the moment the wind's coming across here, so it's not a bad spot. We were down there, so we were getting it sort of funneling through, but it's a bit more secure here now. And we're just not moving.
It definitely feels less windy.
Yeah, I think this is a better anchorage. We can get closer to land. Like on the last one, we were out here where this blue marker was, so we were substantially far from land. The wind could come down through this valley, have quite a bit of fetch, and when the tide was ebbing and going this way, it was fine. You know, we were pointing into it, but as soon as it started to flood and come down this way, we got trapped, and we really started to go in towards that marker. This is the Australian version of a white Christmas, I guess. It's still ex-tropical cyclone Owen has left us with 30 to 35 knots. So we're hiding in an anchorage, but we did have a visit from the people on shore there at Keswick Island. And look what they brought us.
They brought us a Christmas beer.
They brought us a beer each. They also gave us an offer of a night on land, but we had to refuse it because it's just, I don't feel good.
Leaving the boat?
Just, yeah, walking away from the boat. I don't think I'd have a very enjoyable night on land. But they were saying that they tried to go to Mackay, don't do it. I don't know which boat it was in. I could imagine...
Maybe the people in the cat, do you reckon?
Maybe. I could imagine wind against tide would be pretty ordinary. What do you think, Pascal?
Yeah. Just from my... Whoa, what a catch!
But yeah, I'm not going to let this one beer go. I'm still... We'll have to see. We've got internet. We've got patchy internet here. Very patchy. But it's enough to get the observations. So we can get onto Hamilton Island, we can get onto Hay Point, we can get one of the other islands here, and we can actually see what the wind is. It's been saying southeast around about 30 knots, and that's how I know the speed.
Just got a message on the sat phone from Meg and Darren, who are at Sid Harbour, 30 plus southeast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's no fun. We're still got to make up. We still have to make a bit of a decision though. I think if I can, I would rather be down in one of the creeks, not because it's just rolly here, but if a cyclone does reform, we don't want to be out at the island struggling to get back in. So I'd actually rather, sooner rather than later, try and do something about it.
With a storm passing but a cyclone a distinct possibility, we wanted to use the southeasterly winds to sail south to a creek that promised great shelter. We didn't want to go to a nearby marina for fear of being trapped there in worsening conditions and strong onshore winds. The distance was only 30 miles, but we had to make it at high tide to enter the creek. If we couldn't, we would have an uncomfortable night hove to waiting for the next daytime high tide. The race was on. Approaching Hay Point, the wind veered further south, forcing us to tack our way through the freighters to clear the port. It was a great opportunity to see some of these giants up close.
Well, we've made it.
We made it all right. So we Starry Creek. At the moment we're using this Noel Patrick's Curtis Coast. It was written a bit of a while ago, and some of the instructions are a little bit tricky to follow, but we did actually make it in, and it's awesome shelter. You wouldn't know that it's blowing a gale out there at the moment. So I'm just we made it in here, so I'm just quickly saving. I'll cancel that. Just saving our track in for later use, because it was actually a little bit tricky. You know, the charts run out of detail once you start going over drying mud. They don't like to really encourage you to do it, and we did have to follow a bit of a channel in. So I'm going to just save that track for the future, for future us. But this looks like a good cyclone refuge as well. Further that way, which is where the winds would come, is really nice high mangroves, and it looks like pretty good holding mud on the sounder. It had a good solid return, so it was a tough day, but it was worth it, wasn't it, Pesky?
Yeah, definitely worth it. Peace and quiet. No roll.
No hectic current.
No current.
Hey,
It's pretty good.
we'll see what the current actually does as the tide gets more in. The other thing, as we were making our way in, there was a little bit more anxiety than usual, because often we'll do a creek entrance on a flood tide, and it doesn't really matter whether we get in or not. With this one, there was no other shelter.
No.
And it was just the tide had turned, so we really didn't want to stick it.
Yeah.
Because we would have stayed there, and we didn't want to go anywhere else, did we, Pesky?
No.
Thanks for watching Free Range Sailing. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, as it really helps get our video out to other like-minded people. This episode marks the end of our Cruising the Whitsundays series, and we look forward to seeing you next week as we begin our exploration of the Curtis Coast. If you'd like to make a donation or become a patron, there are links to our crowdfunding pages in the description of this video, as well as links to our Facebook and Instagram pages so you can keep track of us in real time.